History remembers few figures as vividly as Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who rose from obscurity to command continents. He was a military genius who redrew the map of Europe, promising France glory and stability after years of chaos. But his relentless ambition would ultimately lead to both spectacular triumph and devastating downfall. Napoleon's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the flaws that can undo even the greatest leaders. Let's journey back to uncover the man behind the legend, from his humble origins to his final desperate gamble for power. This is the epic story of Napoleon Bonaparte, his rise, conquest, and ultimate fall. Before he was emperor, Napoleon was an outsider, born Napoleon Bonaparte in 1769 on Corsica, a rugged island that had only recently become part of France. The island's unique blend of Italian and French influences shaped his early worldview, and the Bonaparte family, though proud of their noble heritage, lived modestly in a land marked by poverty and political unrest. His family, minor Italian nobility, had little wealth but enough status to send him to a military academy in France. This opportunity was rare for Corsicans, and it meant young Napoleon would have to leave his home and family behind at a very young age, venturing into a foreign land where he was seen as an outsider. At school, Napoleon was mocked for his thick Corsican accent and humble background. Isolated from his peers, he found solace in books about history, strategy, and the lives of great leaders. These stories fueled his imagination and helped him develop a fierce determination to prove himself, both to others and to himself. He excelled in mathematics and military studies, quickly rising to the top of his class. At just 16, he graduated from the prestigious École Militaire in Paris, earning the rank of second lieutenant, a remarkable achievement for someone of his background. Isolated and ambitious, Napoleon became self-reliant and disciplined. He spent countless hours training alone, honing his skills, and reflecting on his ambitions. These qualities, his relentless drive and independence, would come to define his entire career. As revolution swept through France, the old order crumbled. The chaos and uncertainty of the times created new opportunities for those bold enough to seize them, especially for outsiders like Napoleon, who had little to lose and everything to gain. He was a young officer with no powerful connections, but the storm of change swirling around him was about to propel him onto the world stage. The revolution would become the crucible in which his destiny was forged. The stage was set for his meteoric rise, a journey from humble beginnings to the heights of power, forever changing the course of history. The French Revolution shattered old hierarchies, sweeping away centuries of monarchy and privilege, and for the first time allowing raw talent and ambition to rise to the surface. In this era of chaos and opportunity, the world was turned upside down. Old rules no longer applied, and new leaders could emerge from the unlikeliest places. Among the ambitious, none seized the moment more completely than a young Corsican officer named Napoleon Bonaparte. Driven, brilliant, and fiercely determined, he saw the revolution not as a threat, but as a chance to prove himself. At the Siege of Toulon in 1793, Napoleon devised a bold artillery plan that forced the British to flee. His innovative tactics and fearless leadership stunned his superiors, earning him a rapid promotion to brigadier general at just 24 years old, a meteoric rise almost unheard of in the old regime. In 1795, when royalists threatened to topple the revolutionary government in Paris, Napoleon acted decisively. With a whiff of grapeshot, he crushed the uprising in the streets, saving the government and instantly becoming a national hero. His name began to echo through the corridors of power. The Directory, recognizing his genius and loyalty, rewarded him with command of the French army of Italy, a battered, demoralized force that many had written off. Napoleon, however, saw only potential and set out to transform his men into a formidable army. His Italian campaign stunned all of Europe. Through daring maneuvers and relentless energy, Napoleon outwitted larger, better-equipped enemies, showcasing his tactical brilliance and turning himself into a celebrity almost overnight. But Napoleon's genius extended beyond the battlefield. He mastered the art of propaganda, carefully shaping his own legend through newspapers, proclamations, and portraits, ensuring that his victories and his image spread far and wide. With each victory, his power and reputation grew. Soldiers idolized him, the public cheered his name, and politicians began to fear his influence. The young outsider from Corsica was now a force to be reckoned with, commanding respect from even the most senior generals. Yet for Napoleon, this was only the beginning. His ambition burned brighter than ever, and he was already planning his next move. The path to ultimate power lay ahead, and Napoleon was determined to seize it, no matter the cost. Napoleon's Italian victories made him a hero, but France's government was weak and unpopular. Sensing opportunity, he staged a bloodless coup in 1799, becoming first consul and the true ruler of France. He modernized the nation, founding the Bank of France, reforming education, and creating the Napoleonic Code, a legal system that endures today. But first consul wasn't enough. Napoleon wanted a dynasty. In 1804, in a dramatic ceremony at Notre Dame, he crowned himself emperor, signaling that his power came from his own achievements. The revolutionary general had become Napoleon I, Emperor of the French. His ambition had no limits. France and Europe would never be the same. The age of Napoleon had begun. As emperor, Napoleon set out to dominate Europe, determined to reshape the continent in his own image. He faced powerful coalitions of Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia, nations that united time and again to halt his ambitions and preserve the old order. His Grande Armée swept across the continent, moving with unprecedented speed and discipline. They won legendary victories, most famously at Austerlitz in 1805, a tactical masterpiece that shattered the Third Coalition and cemented Napoleon's reputation as a military genius. With each triumph, Napoleon redrew Europe's map, placing his family members and loyalists on thrones from Spain to Holland. He created a network of client states, hoping to secure his dominance and spread his influence far beyond France. The continental system, his ambitious economic blockade, aimed to cripple Britain by cutting off its trade. But the policy also strained his own empire, disrupting economies and fueling discontent among allies and subjects alike. Napoleon spread revolutionary ideals, abolishing feudalism, introducing the Napoleonic Code, and modernizing laws across Europe. Yet, despite these reforms, he ruled with an iron fist, demanding loyalty and obedience from all under his control. For some, he was a liberator who brought progress and equality. For others, he was a conqueror and a tyrant, imposing foreign rule and crushing dissent wherever it appeared. By 1810, Napoleon's empire stretched from the Atlantic coast of Spain to the vast plains of Russia. It was the largest European empire since Rome, but it was held together by force, and beneath the surface, deep resentment simmered. The seeds of resistance were sown in occupied lands as people began to organize and fight back against French domination, fueling uprisings and guerrilla warfare. Napoleon's empire was vast, but beneath its impressive surface, it was fragile, overextended, restless, and vulnerable to internal and external threats. The cracks would soon appear, threatening to bring down everything Napoleon had built. By 1812, Napoleon ruled most of Europe, but Russia defied his continental system. Determined to punish Tsar Alexander, he invaded Russia with over 600,000 men, the largest army Europe had ever seen. The Russians retreated, burning everything behind them, leaving the French starving and exposed. After a bloody victory at Borodino, Napoleon entered a deserted, burning Moscow. No surrender came. Trapped by winter, he ordered a retreat. Starvation, cold, and constant attacks decimated his army. Fewer than 100,000 men returned. The Russian campaign was a catastrophe, shattering Napoleon's aura of invincibility. His enemies saw their chance. The empire he built on conquest began to unravel. The end was near. Napoleon's defeat in Russia emboldened his enemies. Prussia, Austria, Sweden, and Russia formed a new coalition. Outnumbered, he suffered a crushing loss at Leipzig in 1813. Paris fell soon after. Forced to abdicate, he was exiled to Elba, but escaped within a year, returning to France for one last bid for power, the 100 Days. The Allies rallied, and at Waterloo in 1815, Napoleon faced British and Prussian forces. For a moment, victory seemed possible, but the Allies held firm and the French were routed. Napoleon's final gamble had failed. This time, he was exiled to remote St. Helena in the South Atlantic. There, he spent his last years, dying in 1821. The Napoleonic era was over, but his legacy was just beginning. Napoleon's death did not end his influence. His His legacy still shapes the world. He was a revolutionary who became a monarch, a modernizer, and a conqueror. The Napoleonic Code inspired legal systems worldwide, and his reforms shaped the modern state. But his wars caused millions of deaths and unleashed new forces of nationalism across Europe. Was he a hero or a tyrant? The debate endures. Napoleon's ambition changed history, leaving a legacy both brilliant and tragic. His shadow still looms over the world he helped create.